Hello, I'm Malcolm Finney, and today on Point, we'll be discussing the effects of peer pressure within the Greek system and how it can impact students. 44 states have anti-hazing laws. California State University system has a zero-tolerance hazing policy. It defines hazing as any method of initiation or pre-initiation into a student organization, which is likely to cause physical or mental harm. The Intra-Fraternity Council and National Pan-Hellenic Conference help enforce the policy and train members about hazing and its dangers. But the negative stereotype of Greek life still exists. One CSUN student says she never experienced hazing.
I think it's a good thing that we don't have hazing, and I've never experienced any hazing because of it. And I think that it really has just made us closer, and it's a more positive way to deal with our sisterhood and our new members.
CSUN student Armando Villa lost his life in a hazing-related incident. He was a member of Pi Kappa Phi fraternity. Villa and other members of the fraternity were hiking in the Angeles National Forest when he collapsed and lost consciousness. He was later pronounced dead at a local hospital. Villa's aunt later told local television station that he and his friends were left on the hiking trail with no shoes or water and forced to find their way out. In the 3 years since, CSUN's Greek system has made changes, but some say it's not enough. On Point Shelby Charlene has more on the story.
Thank you, Malcolm. I'd like to take the time to thank our three guests for being here today. We have Mauricio Romo, current CSUN student and member of a fraternity. We have Leah Cohen, another current CSUN student and alumna of a sorority. And we have Dr. Mahdi, a sociology professor here at CSUN. Thank you guys for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. So I wanted to start off by asking Leah and Mauricio, why did you join a fraternity and sorority? Mauricio, you want to start?
You want me to go first? So I pretty much joined a fraternity because I want to be involved on campus, same time have fun, and pretty much just enjoy my time here at CSUN.
I primarily joined because ultimately I wanted to do something more for the community, philanthropy-wise. So the goal was, whichever sorority I ended up in, was to contribute to that particular philanthropy, whichever one it would be.
And Dr. Mahdi, what makes people want to join this type of group? Is it a sense of fulfillment? Is it the hierarchy that it provides?
Well, it depends on two factors. One is the goal of the organization that they're going to join, and then the other thing is that what is it that they want in their life. You know, as Mauricio said, that he likes to have fun, he wants to be involved, and he wants to have, enjoy by being with other people. And that whereas you put the emphasis on the community service and philanthropy and engagement or civic engagement of that type. Now, obviously, you have to then select a kind of sorority which provides that kind of at least services and functions, and he has to find the one that actually provides fun and enjoyment as well. Obviously, fun and enjoyment is pretty much are considered or at least declared to be with every one of these organizations. Nobody says that my organization is not going to be fun, and nobody will join an organization which is not fun. But this is where it gets a little bit actually interesting, and that is that your personality and your own personal characteristics also is a big factor in how you choose which one of these sororities. And so let's say you are a person that you like fun, and then therefore you're going to seek organization which is fun. And if, let's say, you want to join an organization which helps you with the academic skills and puts a lot of emphasis on leadership, so if you have that kind of goals and have that kind of personality, you will be joining that kind of organization. So there's a question of organization's goal, and then there's a question of individuals' choices and options they have. What is their goal in terms of and joining? And then there is one other factor that actually is more of an indirect factor, and that is once a student is on campus, these are the options for a student to join and not to join. And joining has certain privileges. It brings the student certain distinction. It gives them certain status and so on. identity and so on and on. We can talk about the functions of this organization. And not joining also could deny them those things. And there are also students who don't want any of those distinctions, and they actually have different kind of focus in their life, and they don't want to be associated. Particularly this organization apparently demands a good deal of time and effort as well.
And you mentioned the privileges, and I wanted to ask Mauricio, how does being in a fraternity or a sorority benefit students, and why do you think students should be a part of Greek life?
Well, here's the thing about Greek life is that it opens a brand new world that you had no idea. That when you come to college, university, you're trying to get network connections, and you're just trying to graduate here. But as you join a Greek life, you find meeting other people, like alumni that are in the same shoes you've been, and they're doing the same exact thing you want to be into, and you just start building connections, networking, and it comes in handy in the long run.
Interesting. So what kind of perception of Greek life do you think that non-Greek members on campus have?
Pretty much, I believe the media portrayed Greek life as in people just haze you, and then you're drunk the entire time, which it pretty much has been going out ever since the movie Animal House came out, which in the 70s. It showed it had a dark cloud on Greek life ever since. And then like issues that have been coming up, the media has been blowing it out of proportion. But when you enter Greek life, you see the other side that the media does not show, which is one that I really love to do, which is helping others, helping the community.
And Leah, what do you think that people have as an outside view of fraternities and sororities?
As to their views towards the Greek community, I honestly think that what they find are the stereotypes that you tend to hear, that they get drunk all the time, parties tend to be very prevalent, and what I do think of that is that when it comes down to those particular stereotypes, where there's smoke, there's fire. They didn't just come out of the blue. I don't think that media decided to come up with it out of nowhere. I do think that they certainly enhance it, but I do think that it has been existing within the Greek community, and that there are certain people within the Greek community that tend to prove that stereotype even further, which is why it continues and it has not died down just yet.
And a lot of people say that being a part of a fraternity or a sorority is much like being in a brotherhood or a sisterhood. Would you both agree or disagree with that? Mauricio?
Well, being in a fraternity, you're entering a brotherhood, so in a way, yes, but because you build a bond with everybody. You know everybody by heart. You know when everybody is doing what they want to do. You know, like, as in what they want to achieve. And you're pretty much, we always say, be your brother's keeper. So if someone messes up, you let them know, or someone down, you pick them up, you help them get back up into their feet.
And would you agree, Leah?
It depends on who you're situating yourself with. There are sisters that I could say have certainly been there for me, but as a collective whole, a very substantial part of the sorority community was not there for me. They did not pick me up. If anything, they belittled me and they put me down quite a bit, to a point where I chose to leave. But there were a few people that were there for me, so it kind of goes back to what I said of there are those that further the stereotype and those that pull back from it.
Well, CSUN has a very strict non-hazing policy agreement. It says all organizations and clubs must obey the CSU Code of Conduct, which defines hazing as any method of initiation or pre-initiation into a student organization or student body which is likely to cause physical harm, personal degradation, resulting in physical or mental harm to any former, current, or prospective student. Mauricio, does the Greek system honor this here at CSUN?
I believe they do, because the fraternity I joined, I particularly made sure that no hazing was involved at all. And so it made sure, like, okay, so like I was first sketchy, like when I joined as a brother, but then I noticed, like, oh no, there ain't no hazing. Like I don't understand like why they would haze. Like I never understood the topic. Like I'd see that, oh, fraternities haze, like other fraternities, but like I never understood the topic of why you gotta hate somebody if someone joined the same purpose you are.
And Leah?
The way that I see it is there are communities that say that they don't haze, but I've experienced hazing firsthand, and So have people that I've talked to, and even most recently I've had people coming to me that have complained about those particular issues. So I do not think that the Greek community at CSUN has been adhering to the hazing policy that has been put in place for them.
And regarding that policy, I wanted to ask you, Dr. Mahdi, what type of social and or psychological impact does hazing or the peer pressures involved in fraternities and sororities have on students?
Well, the fact of the matter is that these organizations are a community of individuals. And in a normal society, you have families within the family, disagreements and activities of all kinds that becomes abusive, that becomes out of norms happen. Now you can imagine with the young people who have come together, and there are 40, 50, or even a larger number of them in one compound, who do not have any blood relationship, and they do not know much about the past of each other. And the vetting process, no matter how strict it is still, it's fairly easy to get into those organizations if you meet the criteria, which has to do with the grade and your interview and all of that stuff. So they get into a very intense relationship with one another. And unfortunately, one of the aspects of the negative aspects, of the positive aspects of this Greek system, but there's also the negative aspect. That one of the negative aspects is that it creates a sense of exclusivity, and also a sense of superiority, that we are better than someone else and we could make it to this. And both of this gives the people a sense of privilege and some kind of a right to do certain things. And also they accept that the people who have then come to this organization, therefore they have accepted that this is going to be the part of the game, and therefore they should accept this thing. However, there are broader considerations in society that you cannot do certain things, you cannot behave certain way toward women, or you cannot approach. And many other things that in a normal basis, unfortunately, in normal basis, it's okay to drink and drink a little bit. And if you're one person and you drink, over drink and too much drink it at your own home, the consequences are limited to you alone. But when you get into a collective behavior where 40, 50 people, 100 people all of a sudden and one night they're doing excessive drinking, you have a huge group of people that it creates a momentum and energy, collectively feeds each other, and a lot of wild things happen. And that's one of the area where media, of course, is for sensational stuff, things that actually have gone wrong, and they come after it. And obviously, people who are in fraternities or sororities don't like this stuff to be reported. But it is a big issue for the families that their kids are in this environment, and also harms comes in. We have a high number of fraternity-related deaths every year, and these numbers are not something you could easily, close your eye at, on. And
right.
So these are serious issues. The same thing with the excessive drinking that have led into all kinds of social problems, or sexual assaults in these kind of conditions. So the very intensity of interaction in a very combined environment, and some of the feeling and psychological attitude that is generated as we versus them type of situation puts the student in a sense that they could therefore do anything to them or the others who are not among them, and that's unfortunately the reality of a collective.
Right, and you did mention that sometimes deaths are a result of this, and unfortunately here at CSUN there was a student named Armando Villa who died due to hypothermia and dehydration during an initiation hiking trip with his fellow fraternity members and pledges in July of 2014. We talked to IFC President Edwin Pacheco about how Armando's death affected him. Let's hear what he had to say.
I didn't necessarily just feel for the family, but I also felt for the Greek system in general, because it's never something that you would expect would happen at your own campus.
So I wanted to ask the two of you, how were you affected by Armando Villa's death, and did it impact your perspective at all in the Greek system? Mauricio, if you want to go first.
Well, I always had the idea of I always wanted to join a fraternity ever since high school. And Armando's death really affected me because we were in the same swim team, so we knew each other. I knew him since middle school. I talked to him in high school. And then the last semester of spring of senior year, we all talked about, how we're going to go to CSUN and join a fraternity. However, I didn't choose that path. I went to community college. However, I still did want to go to still join a fraternity when I joined back into CSUN or other school. And so they had this idea we were going to join a fraternity. And so when Mondo's death happened, it pretty much it hit me, become saying, wow, like somebody I knew passed away for a stupid reason. And it was the reason that shouldn't have happened in the first place. It was preventable, yet it happened. Like it really put an emphasis on like, I asked myself, do I still want to join Greek? Which like, it changed my perspective in Greek life after his death.
And Leah, what about you?
Well, I had already been in the Greek system when it happened initially, and I was very heartbroken by it because he was very young, and essentially I would argue that that age is still the age of, I mean, while technically an adult, but still more or less also a child. And that is somebody's child, and that's why I was so taken back by it. But at the same time, what absolutely kills me was that at the same time, I was not necessarily surprised that that hazing was happening. And at first I felt bad that I wasn't surprised, but then I realized, okay, so when is CSUN going to finally take action? How many times does this need to happen before the Greek system as a whole, not just CSUN, decides that they are going to take action against hazing? Because it's still happening.
Mm-hmm. How did you get the news, considering that you were a close friend to him?
I was friends with his best friend on Twitter, and so like it was late at night, like at 1 in the morning. Said like this is not happening. Like they just started posting like sad tweets, and then everybody just started posting rest in peace Armando, and I was like, wait, what? Like I didn't believe this, and then I got it clarified later. Like yeah, like Armando passed away like from the word to word from Twitter. Yeah, he passed away due to a hiking incident, and I was like, that night I couldn't sleep at all because I'm like, wow. Like, I had work the next morning, and like I didn't call off work, but I was just heartbroken.
And you mentioned that you questioned joining the Greek system. What made you decide to continue?
Well, the fact that Armando died, like I didn't want to join the Greek system because everybody looked at the Greek system as a bad thing, but I still saw the good side of the Greek system, how getting networking, how helping the community. We've always been a guy who was helping the community, and so when I joined Greek, when I was asking other fraternities, like, oh, how are your philanthropy events? Oh, how do you guys involve with the community? Many of them, they gave me different answers, and because that's the only question I focus mostly on because I want to be involved in helping the community. Like, I just focus on the community aspect-wise.
But we talked to one student who wished to remain anonymous, and this is what he had to say.
Lester, man, it's like I'm sitting there facing myself in the mirror, telling myself, like, wow, I'm really allowing people to do these things to me.
After hearing that, Leah, can you explain why you decided to leave the sorority that you were in? What happened?
Basically for the same reason that we just heard. I questioned, why am I letting these things get done to me? I was hazed as a person trying to get initiated, but then after the fact, I was still belittled and mistreated. I was told how to dress for my body, what to wear. If I didn't look good in something, a girl would say something behind my back and it would go through the entire line of people in the house before somebody would finally sit me down and say something to me. And they made me feel so bad about my body and my appearance that eventually I developed an eating disorder that I just came out of now 2 years later. So I since then was able to lose 80 pounds, but the truth of the matter is, it's like it still hurts that I got so much stuff said to me and thrown at me for my appearance, but everything else about me didn't matter. My compassion didn't matter. My love of, philanthropy didn't matter. I served as philanthropy chair. That didn't matter. Everything was out the window because of the way that I looked, and I couldn't tolerate it anymore. And anyone with a brain at that point would get up and leave if they know what's good for them.
So did you tell anyone? How did you decide what to do?
Well, at first I tried to talk to other alumni. Those are people that have already graduated long ago and that they were overlooking the chapter, to which they said to me that there's nothing they could do. We're adults, we need to hash it out. And they also had moments where they would tell me, they would critique me based off of my character or what I was wearing, so on and so forth. And so I realized that I couldn't go to anyone above people in my own house. And I went to see my doctor and I found out I was very unhealthy. I was diagnosed with an anxiety disorder after what happened, along with type 2 diabetes. Eventually, she sat down with me. She said she went through the same thing when she went through sorority life. And when she left, she was able to improve her life, and she was my inspiration. And she helped me essentially get my life back together. And she wrote the documentation for me to send up so I can go alum under special conditions. So that means that I was able to go alum and move on and still be able to wear my letters, because there's still some aspect that I wanted to hold on to, and that's those few positive aspects that I experienced. However, I had to move on and better myself. It was basically about me at that point. I had to start taking charge and taking care of myself.
Awesome. So as you both know, when you join a club or an organization on campus, each member must partake in an event called Greek 101 or Club 101, which discusses several topics, and that includes hazing. We talked to CSUN student Pauline Quach about how Greek 101 has changed or improved. Let's hear what she has to say.
We hold Greek 101 and Greek 102 seminars for like members and for like older members to like review like how to treat our like members and like treat them like the way like anyone want to be treated in like a sisterhood.
After listening to what Pauline had to say, do you feel as though Greek 101 or Greek 102 has changed in any way since Armando passed away, Mauricio?
Well, I wouldn't pretty much be able to answer that question because I joined last semester, so I just did Greek 101, so I haven't done Greek 102 yet. However, I felt like Greek 101 from last semester was really, like, it was to the point, like, it pretty much touched you in a sense, and it also touched me because they also talked about Armando. So, but they, from what I hear before Greek 101, before Armando's death was a lot different. Like, I heard about that they changed it ever since Armando's death, which I'm glad they did, because I felt the presence of like the effect of Armando's death in Greek 101, like how much it changed it. Like I saw personally how effective it was.
And Leah, what about you?
I experienced Greek 101 prior to what happened to Armando Villa, and so my experience was that it wasn't taken as seriously beforehand. When I experienced Greek 102 afterwards, hazing began to become more of a prevalent thing that was being discussed within the Greek 102 course. And then also when I went through Greek 102, the issue with Pi Kappa Alpha was also brought up because they were also suspended from the campus. So while that was brought up, it was taken a little bit more seriously in Greek 102, but in Greek 101 at the time it was not.
And I wanted to open this question to all of you. What do you think that these classes are an effective way to deal with the peer pressure or the hazing that's involved in Greek life?
I personally don't really think so, because I feel like you can continue to tell these people, but there's still, for potential new members to any organization, be it fraternity or sorority, they still have some form of pressure. It depends on what the pressure is as to why they want to join. It entirely goes back to that, but some people will still endure whatever it is that happens within the organizations, be it good or bad, for the sake of being accepted. And that is the unfortunate part, which is why I don't think it's effective.
Well, it seems that from all of the discussion we have and what we know of this organization, they definitely give the students certain kind of privileges, certain kind of opportunities for improving their skill, putting collective activities of one type or another, whether it would be civic engagement, whether it would be fun, and so on. So a student apparently desire it. That's why they continue to register for it and go for it. Mm-hmm. However, on the other hand, we have a lot of negative things that happen in this organization, and these negative things are not only, gets to be reflected in society and of course bringing a lot of negative news on the organization. But these negative things have to be dealt with at several levels. One is at individual level. Of course, the individual could be warned or just made aware that this is not right. But the second level of this is that is there any accountability? Until there is some level of accountability within the organization, the classes can serve you, inform you. I mean, even in your family, your parents always are saying do and don't, but still we violate those kind of norms. But if there is no punishment, if there is no some penalty, if there is no some way of recourse for the person who get particularly hurt in the system, you're going to see the recurrence of these things. And so it really requires some level of accountability for individuals and organization, and of course the responsibility lays on the university to have some level of control, as well as the whole system itself, to make sure that they check these things, and if you complain, the complaint actually gets to be heard and implemented, not just we talk to him and it will go away, and it's not going to work.
Yeah. Considering what Dr. Mahdi just said, what would you both say to students who are unsure about joining the Greek life?
Well, if people are unsure about joining Greek life, I would say first test the water. Like, even though it may sound scary, like now after Armando's death, many fraternities and sororities, they changed everything they did. My fraternity, they changed everything they did. Like, after his death, they're like, okay, we gotta start from scratch. Like, they pretty much revamped themselves. Like, they gave themselves a new look, like a new look that pretty much that can help the community, that can help focus, help end the negative stereotypes. And so, if you're trying to join the Greek life, and you want to be involved, like, Greek life is the way to go, because there's so much potential you can do. Like, when you join a fraternity or sorority, you have a chance to achieve, because you see, okay, if I can lead this, if I can lead an action, if I can lead an event, I can do this in the real world at the same time. I can also pretty much pretty much a self-confidence booster, which at first when I joined, I didn't have as much self-confidence, but after a semester and almost a year in joining a fraternity, like, my self-confidence went up way up. I'm not afraid to do anything anymore.
Well, that's all the time we have, but I'd like to thank all of you guys for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He knows he's a pretty big deal. How could you not love him?
Thank you for watching On Point. You can follow us on social media at CSUN On Point. You can hear us on KCSN 88.5 FM on Sunday mornings at 5:30. You can watch us at Santa Clarita Valley Television on Sundays at 11 and at 5, and on LA 36 on Saturday afternoons at 3. For all of us here at On Point, I'm Malcolm Finney.